Hello, this is Dr. Kamani, licensed clinical psychologist. Welcome. We are here for Who Do You Think That You Are? Stay in Your Place. This is for Black women in toxic jobs. So, this is for Black women. If you are starting to think that maybe the situation you're in at their job is not healthy for you, these are the videos for you. If you are at a job, you are so happy, you have no thoughts of leaving, maybe this is not the video for you, okay? But this is for Black women who are starting to realize that the job is harming them in some way. And these videos provide an opportunity for you to self-reflect about your own experiences as you have seen and heard about my own healing journey, as well as experiences of my guests. So today I'm very excited to have Dr. Gena with us today. So Dr. Gena, if you could briefly introduce yourself, we'll go right to the conversation.
Oh, thank you, Kamani. Thank you for inviting me and having me today.
Yes.
Yes, everyone, I am Dr. Gena Yuvette Davis. I'm an organizational psychologist and executive coach, and I am founder and CEO of True Synergy Inc., which is a people and culture management consulting company based right here in Los Angeles, California. We specialize in corporate culture change and behavioral transformation for high growth companies. And I am also the founder and CEO of My Serenity Sanctuary. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We are committed to the self-care and well-being of Black women and girls everywhere.
That's music to my ears. So, Dr. Gena, can you share about, and let me just say this again, as I say before to other people, that the audience knows I've been talking about Black women in toxic jobs for over a year because I'm a toxic job survivor. But what's so interesting is that whenever I meet with a guest, it's like when I met with you, I ask about a toxic job experience, and it's like, well, which one? Because many times we have more than one. Yes. So
Mm.
today we're going to focus on one of those experiences, and that's unfortunate that we do. So, Dr. Gena, can you share about an experience in which you were glowing. You were just doing outstanding work in the workplace. People recognized that you were doing this outstanding work. But when you ever tried to like ascend or promote or anything like that, there was like this message that you stay in your place. Can you share a little bit about that experience?
Absolutely, Dr. Kamani. Yes, there have been many experiences. That's why I eventually went into business for myself because
Mhm.
of the corporate experiences. I'd like to share one that happened early on in my career, moving to the entertainment. I have a background, 18 years in marketing communication. I got my MBA marketing. I thought that was going to be my career. But before that, though, I went to work in the entertainment industry, was extremely excited to work at a major studio, excited to work there, got a job in the marketing department. Not going to say which entertainment agent's studio it was. I'm not going to say what division, but I went to work in marketing at a major studio, was very excited to be there, um, worked really hard, was committed. Everyone knew me. They saw my work. I had glowing reviews, was always willing to do whatever it took to make sure that our department was successful. I loved it there. It was my first entertainment job out of college. I just, whatever they wanted, I did because I wanted to grow. But over time, I wanted to ascend. People
Mhm.
around me were ascending, were getting promoted. Now, I was the only Black person, male or female, in this department and in
Mhm.
the entire division of this particular studio. I'm a young person, very ambitious, had my undergraduate from USC, and really wanted to take my career to the next level.
Mhm.
But that wasn't to be. People were getting promoted around me. I was not getting promoted. No one saw me as anything other than what I was doing, which was doing marketing assistant work,
Mhm.
nothing more than that. As people were coming into the department, they were getting promoted. I was there longer,
Wow.
they were getting promoted. My boss
Mm.
at the time did not have a degree, did not have an undergrad, didn't have no degree, but she was working hard to make sure she got promoted. So
Hmm.
she was ascending and I was still in the same area. Other people were getting promoted. I was in the same area. I said I wanted to be promoted. I wanted to go to the next level, just to a coordinator level,
Mm-hmm.
something as simple as that.
But you
But
were kept at that entry level.
kept at the entry level. They did
Mm-hmm.
not see me as anything until finally my boss got promoted for like the third time.
Wow.
She came, asked me to come into her office. I thought finally I'm going to get a promotion like everybody
Mm-hmm.
else. But
Mm-hmm.
instead, she wanted me to be her personal assistant. Now, I was always already a marketing assistant for the department, but she wanted me to be her executive assistant. And as she was going over my job description, I said, hold it,
Wait,
hold
can I
it.
ask you something, Dr. Gina?
Yeah, sure.
That was different from what you had been trained for and been hired for and went
Yes.
to school for, right?
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
got it.
I
Okay.
wasn't, I didn't go to USC to be someone's executive assistant.
Right, right,
That was not,
right.
that's
I was
not
like, did I
what
miss something?
I for. That wasn't what I was trained at. No.
Uh,
So, but she thought she was doing me a favor.
oh, you should be
Yeah.
grateful, huh?
Yeah, I should be grateful. And she go over my job description, and I said, hold it. I said, I'm going to quit. She dropped her papers and she said, quit. I said, yes, quit. She said, why? Gena, why? I said, you know why. I said, you know why. And she said, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to be a marketing consultant. And as I said the words out of my mouth, I'm kind of looking around at myself like, who said that? I was just, I'm going to be a marketing consultant. She goes, a marketing consultant? I said, yes, a marketing consultant. So, long story short, I realized that I was really close to being fully vested in my
Mm.
company and I wasn't about to lose that money. So I'm trying to hang in there a little bit longer. Then her boss calls me in to
How
find
much longer would you have to stay there? How much longer?
4 weeks, 4 weeks long.
Okay,
So it
got
wasn't
it.
that long, but
Hmm.
it was long enough that I didn't want to leave early and then I wouldn't have gotten my
Hmm.
invested.
Yeah.
So her boss called me in and asked me why was I leaving and why did I want to stay longer than. So finally, I told her the truth. I sang like a canary and told her everything. And she said, don't worry. What we'll do is we'll put you on vacation and we'll make sure that you're fully vested. And then that'll be it. So then I left. And
Wow.
it was the best decision and the most scariest position I thing that I ever did because people were like, you're leaving those benefits. Why are you doing this? You have rent, you have bills. But I believed in myself,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
though this particular corporate job did not believe in me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dr. Gina, can you speak a little bit more about you were scared? Because a lot of Black women that I've encountered, and even for myself, when I was in that situation, I was stuck by fear. So can you talk a little bit, like, how did you walk through the fear? Because when I say to Black women is the fear is going to be there. So don't feel like, oh my God, I'm scared, so I need to stay. No, the fear is a normal reaction because you're doing something scary. You're doing something different. It's a major life change. So, how did you walk through the fear? And Dr. Gina, can you speak to the people telling you to stay?
Oh
Those
yeah.
around you telling you to stay.
Oh yeah. 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 So I'm gonna say false evidence appearing real. You know that false evidence
Yes.
appearing real. During that time when I was in that role and noticing everyone getting promoted around me, and yes, I was petrified, just really, really petrified to leave. And I would sit in my cubicle staring at the wall,
Woo.
and not my work was just piling up. And so we'll talk later about the relationship with my coworkers and boss later, but I would just stare at the wall because I was so depressed. I was so
Wow.
miserable. I hated getting up in the morning. But I
Mm,
was petrified to leave, and family and friends and other coworkers and just other people were saying, "Girl, you better not give up those benefits. And what are you going
mm-hmm,
to do?" And
mm-hmm.
instilling more fear in me,
Projecting their fear.
projecting their fears onto me.
Mm-hmm,
So I had a good friend at the time, a colleague, more like
mm-hmm,
a mentor, had recommended this program for me. Now, the program, it doesn't exist anymore, but it was called The Essential Woman. It was a
mm-hmm.
program in healing and transformation for women. And I said, what the heck? So I started taking these classes on healing and the fears and insecurities that I was feeling about leaving my job. I also went to therapy. There's
Good.
nothing wrong with therapy,
It's a beautiful thing.
honey.
Yes,
Licensed
it's a
clinical
beautiful thing.
psychologist. Yes, I went to therapy. And it really helped me sort through and work through my feelings, because let me tell you something. I had feelings of failure. I had feelings of being a loser. I was 30 years old when I left the company, and not married, no children. I felt like my world was coming apart. And taking that class, going to therapy, that program, in other words, this program that I went through on healing and transformation, and going to therapy really helped put things in perspective for me, and
Yeah.
really helped me to, there's a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Have you ever heard of that book? Yeah, Feel the Fear. I
No.
forgot the author's name, but Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And then, learning false evidence appearing real. What's the evidence? you know
Yes.
what's the worst that could happen? and
Yes.
but it hasn't happened yet. So
Yes.
I had to go through all of that, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
easy, but in the end, it was the best decision for me, because when I started my own marketing firm, that was my second business. I had another
Mm-hmm.
little small business when I got out of college, but this was my second real business that I had, a marketing consulting firm that I did develop and get off the ground and ran for 7 years. It gave me courage, it gave me strength, it gave me
Yeah.
power, it gave me confidence to
Mm-hmm.
really move forward in my
Yeah.
career.
Yeah. And I think a lot of Black women, Dr. Gena, we have all these feelings, like you just said, like that you are a failure, loser, all these different things. And we seek so much external validation from jobs because that's how we were raised, right?
Mhm.
You get this job, you work really hard, all these different things. So that's the one thing. The other thing is when you talked about the fear, and you also talked about when the boss said, "Well, what are you going to do?" And then you said out of nowhere
I don't
came, "I'm going to be a marketing consultant." But that was your soul, right? Your soul was saying, "I'm going to do that."
know.
So sometimes we become disconnected from ourselves and from our soul and all because of what's happening at that toxic job. It's like a trauma. And
Mhm.
when you said that you were in your cubicle looking at the wall, I could visualize what that was like for you.
Oh
Just the
yeah.
level of misery and the dread. You're going through all the schooling, you got this job, and you're like, how did I end up here? And when you said before about you didn't know where that came from, and I think a lot of Black women, we forget the skills and talents that even got us in that job in the first
In the
place.
first place.
And when we connect to that, we are saying, no, I can do this. And you know what's so interesting, Dr. Gena, is that sometimes Black women, we get in this fear mode of thinking, and that causes us to reject any possibilities. So I've had Black women say, very few, but some Black women say, "Oh, you just want me to leave this job? You want me to just leave this job and be homeless?" And I said, that's never what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there are other options for you, and it's not either you stay at this toxic job and die, basically, right? A
Mhm.
slow death,
Mhm.
or you choose something different. It doesn't have to be that way. Now, how did you deal with the naysayers who were telling you, girl, stay. It's a good job. How'd you deal with them?
I didn't pay attention to them. My thing is that now I've always been a person that I really cared back then, and even now to a little extent. I'm 57, and so I'll be 57 in December.
You look great. You look fabulous.
Thank you. I'll be 57 in December. The reason why I said that, because somebody told me they were 57, so I was like, "Oh, 57 too." So I back then I did really care what people think, but and thought about me and everything. But you're right, there was something in my soul, and it was something that kept going in my mind. Jump, and the net'll appear.
Mm, mm.
Hear me now, quote me later. If you jump, the net will appear.
So
I'm,
true.
I'm I testify to that every time. When I told my boss that I was going to be a marketing consultant, and it just literally came out of my mouth, for me, it felt like the universe was saying, jump, I
Yes,
will catch you. And
yes.
so, what really made it bad for me is I was saying that I had a BA from USC and I wanted to get my MBA.
Hmm.
And that was the straw, but the straw that broke the camel's back
Hmm.
was when I wanted to get my MBA and my boss told me no, that I could not get my
Wow.
MBA.
This is the same woman who had no degree,
She
right?
had no degree,
Right.
and told me that, "Oh, you don't need that. You don't need that."
Oh, really?
And
Uh-huh.
I knew I needed an MBA for me to advance in my career, and I
Hmm.
knew that I could not stay. But I was
Yeah.
hopeful. I was hopeful. Even though she told me no, I was still hopeful that something good would happen in that department
Hmm.
until she came with me with that, "Hey, I've got a surprise for you. You could be my executive assistant."
Ooh, wow.
So
And she
I
didn't even recognize how insulting that
She
was.
didn't recognize it. No one could
Wow.
understand how I felt.
Mm.
No one could understand the sadness, the depression, the anger, the bitterness
Yeah.
I felt. No one got it. All they saw was she's not doing her work. She's not,
Ah,
she's not focusing on her work. So someone that came doing excellent work,
yeah.
to all of a sudden, it's like being a student. You have an A student, and then
Hmm.
all of a sudden that A student is getting C's and D's.
Mm. There's something wrong.
There's something wrong, but no one saw that.
Yeah.
And that was the key. Someone who was doing so well, and now they're not, and you're not
Yeah.
trying to figure out why, and you don't know
Right.
why. But my boss's boss ended up, the pieces all came together after I left.
That is so rare that a black woman is looked out like that. You know what I'm saying? Like she's like, just take the 4 weeks of vacation. I want to make sure you get vested. That is so rare. So that was definitely something in your favor.
Yeah.
So you talked about how it impacted you, and you talked about walking through the fear, and you talked about kind of tuning out what other people were saying. And I
Mhm.
just say to black women too that if you know there's people in your circle who are going to try to convince you to stay in a toxic job, just think of it. You are staying in poison. When you stay in poison, the poison gets through your body. So it impacts your mind, it impacts your body. It's not healthy for you. So you know what's best for you. So there might be people around you, girls, just stay there. Girl, just stay there. I just stopped talking to certain people. I wouldn't tell them my business, right?
Yeah,
Even my mother.
absolutely.
I didn't tell her I resigned. I
Mhm.
didn't tell her 6 months later that I had
Mhm.
resigned because I couldn't deal with that additional projected fear,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Because it's scary enough leaving the job. I can't deal
Exactly.
with your stuff too. So, Dr. Gena, you talked and you were very transparent about therapy, the power of therapy. Can
Yes,
you share with the audience what were the other things involved in your healing journey? And as toxic job survivors, we are still healing. So,
absolutely.
what has been your healing journey?
So for me, I'm still on that journey. All this
Yes,
year, I'm still. It's like you said, it's a journey. It's a
yes,
process, and it's a process that I am still on. And what I do, like I said, I joined the Essential Woman program back then when I first left the company, and then a series of spiritual classes, going to church, um, building a community of friends that really had the same belief system as I did, going to therapy, going to counseling, um, reading a lot of
yes,
books, really reading a lot of books, self help books, biographies of people who had hard times and was dealing with certain things and how they overcame them. Watching Biography, remember the show Biography that came on A&E?
yes,
Those things to really help build up my confidence and my
yeah,
self-esteem. was
Yeah.
the thing. You have to be around people that embrace you. You have to be around people that will lift you up. My love
Yeah.
language is affirmations. So people giving me affirmations, making me feel confident, staying away from people, not making me feel confident, but helping me to build my confidence.
Build you up.
Yeah,
Yes.
staying away from people who were negative,
Mm-hmm.
or they realized that I had issues with self-esteem and fears,
Mm-hmm.
getting away from those people and just
Yep.
really focusing on people that really believed in me and
Yeah.
uplifted me. And it's
Yeah.
really, really important to do that, because
Yes, it
all that
is.
noise, that's the monkey mind
Oh, yeah.
talking to you. And the monkey
Yeah,
mind is very powerful, and you got to learn
it
to
is.
resist it.
And it's distracting, and it keeps you from focusing on what you need to do for yourself, and it makes you like even more disconnected from yourself. Like you're like, what am I trying to do? What? And you got all these different perspectives that are not helpful for you. So as you talked about, being on this healing journey, you also talked about watching and reading about the stories of others, and that can be helpful because you see the possibilities. You see how other people have overcome situations
Yes.
just as we will overcome situations. And sometimes you need to see those reminders. And
Yes.
the importance of your circle, I cannot stress that enough. You need to make sure your close circle is supporting and uplifting you. They're not projecting fears onto you. They're not undermining you. They're not gossiping about you. Like these are people that you trust, and you need to closely evaluate who your circle is. So,
Yes.
Dr. Gena, as you think now, so you've been how many years out of that situation? How many years ago
Oh,
was that?
it's been about 25 years since that situation. It
Wow.
was early in my career when that
Okay.
happened, but that was the foundation for
Yeah.
everything else that I've accomplished in my career. Had
Yeah.
I stayed in that toxic job, I would not be Dr. Gena today.
Please share. Please share.
Because remember, my boss at the time told me I didn't need an MBA. So what if
Mm.
I would have listened to her? What if I
Mm-hmm.
would have just, well, yeah, maybe I don't need to get an MBA, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
listening to people and of not advancing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be where I am, listening to other
Right.
people.
Right. And
So
she was just trying to benefit from you. She was not helping you grow in any
no,
way.
no.
Yeah.
She was trying
Yeah.
to benefit herself,
Yeah, yeah.
basically.
So I'm curious because I'm like about 1 year out of resigning. You're 25 years out from that experience. How does the healing look different? Like, what does it look like now in terms of, so for me, like I still might have like triggers about the job. If I hear something about the job or something, it brings back some memories. I'm able to move through it. But what is it like 25 years out from that experience?
Because during that time I was still dealing with racism, sexism, microaggressions throughout
Mm,
my career. So even
uh-huh.
when I left and became a marketing consultant, I was
Mhm.
still dealing with clients, racism,
Uh-huh.
sexism, microaggressions, and moving through that. The difference is I was in control of my destiny, and my
Uh-huh.
destiny was not in the hands of an employer. So I can
Ooh.
fire clients. I can say
Yes.
no. Um,
Yes.
so I was
Taking your
able,
power back.
yeah, I was able to get my power back. But it was through that
Uh,
journey when I went back into corporate America and went back to the entertainment business and worked at a couple of studios. But then, and it got better because I left the entertainment business as a marketing assistant, but
mhm.
came back as a senior manager director back into the entertainment business and was advancing up to executive director, etc. And so, and still dealing with um, things like, you know, the tokenism,
Oh,
with the tokenism
yes.
in my
Mhm.
departments, even in the entertainment world.
Mm,
There was a lot of tokenism there, except for one
mhm.
studio. It was very diverse, and I loved it there, but I still wasn't advancing. So
Uh-huh.
went to another studio, was experiencing the tokenism, and then but feelings that I didn't belong. I was
Mm,
dealing with those feelings of that I didn't belong. We have inclusion and belonging when you talk about DEIBAJ, diversity, equity, inclusion,
mhm,
belonging, accessibility,
mhm.
and justice. So when you look at the IB, I might have been included, but they
Right.
make me feel like I belong there, but in different ways. So
Mm,
I had to navigate those waters. And when I left my last role, well, we were actually laid off and our division was
mm,
sold, that
mm.
I made a decision. I said, I think it's the universe telling me that I need to be on my own and really
Yeah,
build my career. And it wasn't until
yeah,
I started True Synergy and got my doctorate degree that things started to really change. And then also with George Floyd, that just
yeah,
really exploded my business. Now that
yeah.
things are, retracting, then we're starting to see the impact of that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not going to stop me. I'm still committed to shifting toxic workplaces for others,
Yes,
creating
absolutely.
creating cultures of inclusion,
Yeah,
creating cultures of collaboration, making the culture match the brand, who you say you are. That's our motto. We make the culture match the brand. So who you say you are externally, we want to make sure you're who you say you are internally as well.
right.
So it was my experiences over those last 25 years that has put me on this quest to make sure that we don't have and continue to have toxic workplaces. There's no need
Yes,
for it.
exactly, exactly. Because people like you are going to end up leaving. People like me are going to end up leaving. You're going to lose your talent.
Right.
So, two things I wanted to ask you. One, what were the ways that they showed you that you didn't fully belong? And the other part I want to mention was when we go through some types of trauma, some of us grow from that. So post-traumatic growth. So you experienced post-traumatic growth after that, and you started soaring. You just excelled after that. So what were the things? Because I think a lot of Black women have this experience where they're like, oh, we got Dr. Gena, right? Like we have the token Black woman. But what were the ways that they showed you that you did not belong?
Oh wow, many ways. And these are the cliches. These are the ones that, everybody can check off. Yep, that happened to me. Being in meetings where I may give an opinion or a thought about something or an idea and it's ignored. And then
Mm,
someone white, let's call it what it is, someone white, particularly a white male, says the same exact thing that I
mm,
said. And then it's
mm.
like, oh, that's a great idea. And we should
Right. That's brilliant.
look.
Right.
And I said, and I'll say, didn't I just say that?
Yes.
Radio silence. Radio
Mm.
silence.
Yes.
Yes. Or not invited to certain meetings. Or I'll give you
Mm.
one that it could apply to anything, but it really applied in my case. The last role was most of the people in my department smoked. And
Mm.
that's where the deals got done. That's where all the meeting after the meeting happened. I'm allergic
Wow.
to smoke. So
Huh.
a lot of times I wouldn't go out there because they were smoking.
Right.
They knew I didn't smoke. That's the
Ah.
thing. They knew
Wow.
I didn't smoke. They
Yeah.
knew. So they would, instead of saying, let's go. I mean, I don't drink either, but I'll go have some ginger ale if you say, hey,
Uh-huh.
let's go to the local bar up the street.
Right.
No, they would go outside and smoke and do all the meetings after the meetings. So what I would do is I would go out there with them.
Oh.
Yeah, well,
Oh gosh.
coughing and
And jeopardizing your health for the job. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
oh,
And I
yeah.
think a lot of us do that. So we can see what's happening. And I think that's what's so fascinating about us is that many times we can peep the game. We can peep what's happening. They
Okay.
don't know that we're smart enough to know what the game is. But we've already peeped it. We're like, oh, okay, I see what's happening. And then we choose what to do in that situation. So,
Right.
Dr. Gena, now that you're 25 years out, Do you regret leaving that job? Do you have any regrets? Okay.
No, I do not. I mean, I I loved working there. It
Hmm.
was a great company, but do I regret doing what I did? Absolutely not. Would I do it again? Absolutely. Because
Yes.
I would not be where I am today had
Yes.
I not walked out then. So
Yes.
no, I don't
And I
regret.
and I want Black women to hear that because I say it, but I want them to hear from other Black women. I did not talk to her about this. I just asked her this question. And is there anything that you wish that you had done differently, prior to leaving or in the leaving process?
I think I wish I would have left sooner. And the reason why is because when I left on bad terms.
Mm-hmm.
So we were all close then. We were all friends then. But
Mm-hmm.
because of what happened, and I left on really bad terms. So
Mm-hmm.
my boss to this day, who I don't know where she is now, but she stopped speaking to me. So and I still have relationships with other former bosses that I have. We're on Facebook friends and all kinds of things.
Okay.
But if I would have left earlier, if I would have left when things didn't get so toxic, I
Mm.
should have saw the writing. I saw the writing on the wall, but I
Mm-hmm.
ignored the writing on the wall. I had to wait
Uh-huh.
till the red light was flashing and the
Like
bell,
kicking you out, like you gotta go.
and they're literally saying get out for me
Yes.
to really get it. But if I would have saw the writing on the wall, would have
Yeah.
saw it, would have had and left with a better having the conversation with my boss, getting her or not understanding, but trying to get her to understand, and still being able to keep my relationships with others in
Mm.
my department and in my division intact, then
Mhm.
maybe as I had moved on to other experiences, I
Mhm.
could have had the support of those
Mhm.
people a little bit more.
Yeah, so you're saying recognizing the signs earlier that it's time to go. But I think this is the thing too, because I know that I saw signs. They were like glaring signs. In fact, Gina, I came up with a list. At first, it was going to be the top 10. It must have been like at least 60, 70 signs, right?
Mm-mm.
So, all of these signs, what do you think kept you there, even though you saw the signs?
Hope.
Mm,
Hope, and this it's like a relationship. You hope it's going to get better. You hope
right.
they're going to see you. You hope they're going to give you your chance.
You
You
hope they'll
hope
appreciate
you
you
hope
and see
they'll
your
appreciate
worth.
you. They'll see my worth. They'll
Yeah,
like me more.
yeah.
Hope, and that's what I was hanging on to, that things are going
Uh,
to get better, instead of saying, it's my time to exit, and
yeah,
leaving on a good term
yeah,
than leaving on a bad term.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And as you think about, your experiences, you said you have no regrets, you may have done something differently. If there are Black women watching this right now and their experience resonates, they're like, oh my God, I had similar experiences. What would you say to her?
Wow. I would say to her, believe in yourself. It's really hard. Have faith in yourself. Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So even though there's things that you don't know what's going to happen on the other side, you don't know. That's where the faith comes in.
Mm-hmm,
It's
mm-hmm,
in the not
mm-hmm,
knowing. It's the
mm-hmm.
evidence of things not seen. Like, what's the evidence? Well, you're going to see. You just can't see it yet. But if you
Yeah.
you have faith and you believe in yourself, and you really know, you have the confidence that you can do it. You might have feelings of self doubt.
Mm-hmm,
You might have fears. But if
mm-hmm,
you believe that you can do it,
mm-hmm.
then do it.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
just do it.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? When you were talking, that just spoke to my soul too, because when I was in the middle of that situation, I had a really good sister friend, actually two, who were telling me, you need to go, you need to go, you need to go, right? I saw the writing on the wall, but they did too. And they were saying, get out, right? I was stuck by fear. And what the fear was, I struggled with faith. I could not believe if I left that things would be okay, right? But
Yeah.
when I did leave, I thank God every day that I left. And just like you, my only regret is that I didn't leave earlier
Mhm.
because of the additional harm that I experienced in that workplace, staying there
Mhm.
longer, trying to
Mhm.
be hopeful and trying
Mhm.
to make things better and
Mhm.
trying all these other things. It was a waste of time. But
Yeah.
the part about faith, I think a lot of us might say that we have faith, but we really don't, because we have such fear, because we see what's happened to so many Black people. And we're like, we don't want that to happen to me, right? So, can we speak directly to this one thing, though? So, what if there's a Black woman watching this right now? She hates her job. Sunday at this time, she is dreading it because tomorrow she got to go to work. She cries on her way to work. She cries leaving work. She talks about work all the time. Everybody in her family, all her friends know about her job. Okay. And she says to you, let's say she's talking to you, and she says, I want to leave this job, but if I leave the job, I'm gonna be homeless. What would you say to her?
How do you know?
Good
Yeah,
question.
there's an activity that we do called the 5 whys. You've heard of the 5 whys.
Advice, yes.
So yeah, but I would say, how do you know this?
Mm,
You know, and she would have to answer. So my coaching
yes,
part would come on,
yes,
and I would ask her that. I would throw the question right back at her.
yes,
The
yes.
faith of a mustard seed. I just wanted to say this. One of
Uh-huh.
my one of my good friends sent me a card. She had made like a butterfly because she knows I like butterflies,
I did
and
too.
I love butterflies. And she said, this was years ago though. I think I still have it. She sent it as a butterfly, and she put she taped a mustard seed to the butterfly, and she did that Hebrews 11:1. And she said, see how little this mustard seed is? That's all the faith you need.
Oh,
And
wow.
that, when I saw that
That's
little bitty
beautiful.
mustard seed, then it was like, that's all you need. A little faith.
Yes,
You don't need a lot of faith.
yes, yes,
So I
yes,
would
yes, yes.
say, how do you know? How do you know you're gonna
Yeah.
be homeless?
Yeah. And you know what's interesting too, when you talk about that, the five whys gets at the root cause of what's fueling the fear, right? So if you're in that situation, just start asking yourself, what evidence do I have to confirm this or
Mhm,
not, right?
mhm.
So, Dr. Gena, can you share with the audience as we're winding down, what is the work that you're doing now and how can people contact you?
Wow. So, as I said, I'm an organizational psychologist. So, I specialize in the behavior of organizations and people in their organizations. So, we do a lot of corporate culture change work, as I said, people and culture, organization development, coaching, training, assessment work. Uh, I've been doing this work for about 13 years now. Um, so, if there are people out there that are looking for culture change in their organization. They want to turn that organization around, not just DEI, but overall culture. You want to create a more collaborative culture, a
Yeah,
more inclusive culture. You want
yeah.
to get rid of the toxicity in your organization. Then yes, you
Hmm.
want to reach out to True Synergy. Um,
Yes. Wait, Dr. Jen, I'm sorry, I have to stop you. You know why? Because when you talk about culture, when we think about toxic work environments, that it's not just one or a few people, it's the whole environment.
the whole
So the whole
organization,
culture is toxic. So I'm glad that you are addressing the culture.
the
And can you
entire
just
system.
share, because this is the part that trips me up. Why is it that employers do not understand that when you treat people poorly and you have a hostile work culture, that that is not to the benefit of the organization? Why do people then still engage in toxicity? Do they not understand that?
They I don't want to speak for every organization, but for
Mm,
some, it's for all. It's about profit. It's all about
mm,
profit. If we are making money,
mhm,
then they don't care about the toxicity. Doesn't matter because what they focus
mm,
on is the bottom line, the dollar. Now, here's
mhm,
the thing: when it
mhm,
gets out, when the
mhm,
media gets a hold of it, When people
Mm-hmm.
start speaking out against these organizations and they
Mm-hmm.
get in trouble, meaning that now externally, the external partners are seeing it, the customers are seeing the toxicity
Mm-hmm.
that's going on in an organization, then they want to change. And
Mm.
we have so many examples of companies having toxic workplaces. It got
Uh-huh.
to the media and now they've changed.
Isn't
Starbucks,
that something?
Uber, I mean,
Mm.
just give out just a whole list of companies that have
Mm.
had toxic workplaces that
Mm-hmm.
went through a culture change because
Mm.
of this toxicity. But as long as people, I believe that people, we have a voice
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
we need to advocate for ourselves as employees and speak
Mm.
up. See, a lot of times people are
Mm.
afraid to speak up. They're
Because of
afraid of what
retaliation. I know
people,
for me, everybody in my job was scared because of retaliation.
yeah.
Because they saw it. It
Mhm.
was real. Like, oh, I won't say nothing. Yeah.
It's important for us to be able to speak up for ourselves and have a
Mm-hmm.
voice and be
Mm-hmm.
able to say, this is not right, and be able to come together. I
Mm-hmm.
always say, one, and I've heard this before, one finger pointing is not going to do anything. But if you have
Mm.
all five fingers,
Mm.
you could strike a
Power.
mighty blow if you all come
Yes.
together. But one
Yes.
person going around saying things, hey, this is going on. You've got to you got to be able to throw hands,
Yeah.
all fingers ready to
Yeah.
fight and really to
Yeah.
stand up for each other. And
Yeah.
we're seeing that a little bit more, but we have to continue to do that. Complacency does not do anything but make things
Mm.
worse. You've got to care about your health. You got to care about
Mm-hmm.
your emotional and mental well-being, because guess
Mm-hmm.
what? If not, you're flat on your back. People are gonna like, oh, poor such and such.
Mm-hmm.
He sure was a great person. Okay, let's get her
Right.
job description up and let's get
Exactly.
somebody else new.
Exactly. Exactly. Dr. Nadia Lopez talks about this. She says that why would we um, why would we kill ourselves for jobs that would not mourn for us at our grave? And S. Emery Archer says that the job would not mourn one day for your loss. They would hire the next person to come in. And something else that she talks about that I'd share with people too, to post reviews about jobs on Glassdoor. So if they are toxic and shady and all these other things, post that so you are helping other people who are coming behind you. So Dr. Jean, I'm sorry, I had to just jump in. So share about your nonprofit as well.
No, no problem. No problem. My Serenity Sanctuary, we focus on the self-care and well-being of Black women and girls everywhere. We offer programs and content and events for Black women and girls nationally. We have a Girls to Great program where we focus on young Black girls ages 13 to 17 on their self-esteem, their confidence. We talk about for them being able to speak their voice, communication skills, loving their bodies, things that could make strong young girls
Mm-hmm.
powerful young women. And
Mm-hmm.
also, in terms of women, really focus on ourselves, how we need to take care of ourselves first before we could take care of other people. So we
Yeah.
have a community called My Serenity Sanctuary, myserenitysanctuary.com, and we have wonderful content that we post every single day for our members to just really, it's like a lounge where people can go in and communicate. And we have sisters listening circles, we have lives, we have resources for Black women. We do events and all types of programming. We're early stage startup, and we are in a fundraising campaign. So please, check us out.
And I'll put her information in the description section. So all of this information she just said, I'll put that in the description section. So please support her organization. And when you talked about for Black girls, what you're doing for Black girls and Black women too, is that you are preparing us in terms of filling us up and grounding us with our greatness so that we have that psychological armory as we go into this very hostile world and
Mhm.
these hostile, toxic workplaces. So, how do we have that? And even with the psychological armory, I think what you're saying too, Dr. Gena, is even with that, when you recognize that that job is harming you, it's toxic, you're not growing, please start making plans and pivoting and exiting
Hmm.
because you need
Yes.
to get out to save yourself. But also, like you just said, there's other things for us to do. And I think, too, I resonate with your story so much. In terms of when I went through what I went through, I was like, I don't want to work for another person again. I do not want anyone who's that insecure to be
Yeah.
terrorizing me or and the byproduct my family. I did not want to have that anymore. But I understand other people do want to have another job, and I support them in that as well. But the psychological armoring is so important. So, Dr. Gena, I do want to read you some of the comments in the chat.
Okay.
And thank you, chat. You guys have been very active. I saw you commenting, but I couldn't stop in the moment. Okay, so people are saying, wow, the audacity. And that's Marissa Price. Please follow Marissa Price too. She does excellent work on her YouTube channel. And yes, we have a super sticker. Yay. Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Thank you. And so this is going to go to the masterclass or the masterclass replay for any Black woman who wants to leave a toxic job, but she needs that help. The masterclass will help her. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Um, my mantra is do it afraid. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Do it afraid. And it may not be perfect, whatever you're doing. It may not be perfect, but it's okay. Just keep going. I'm thinking about soul to soul. Keep on moving, right?
That's
Keep on
right.
moving, don't stop. Yes. We have to grieve and release the attachments to accolades we work so hard to achieve. Yes. Because then we start looking for that external validation. And like you just said, Dr. Gena, we're looking for accolades from people who are mediocre at best.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So we have to check ourselves when we start doing that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so yes, tapping back into trust from a spiritual perspective, God asks us to step out in faith. He will put the ground under that foot where there was no ground. Yes, before.
That's
It's
right.
terrifying, but the nature of faith. So true. So true.
Mhm.
Wow, I'm 25 years old and going through this in my current work. And I would say to you, sis, I would just say to you as a someone older than 25, that you deserve something better. You have so
Absolutely.
many options at your age, at any age, we have so many options. So start thinking about what is it that you want to do and get the support that might be in therapy in terms of healing from this toxic experience and help you in terms of getting that clarity. So that might be helpful to you. Wow, I've dealt with all of this at my last job. So glad I'm with a great company and I work remote. Yes, congratulations for you. And again, even though I'm like, I don't think I want to go to the job, if other Black women are able to find a good job, I'm happy for you. Let's
Can
see.
I say
I just,
something?
yes.
I just want to be able to say, know what it is that you want to do. Know what you
Mm,
want. If you want to go back into corporate, interview the company just as much
yeah,
as they are interviewing you.
true.
What is their work culture? Ask them, what's your work culture like? What is a typical day like? Interview them as they're interviewing you. You
Mm,
you got to want them just like they want you. It's a
yes,
two-way street. It's not a one-way communication. It's two-way. So ask
yes.
questions and see if this is the right company for you. Not just them
Hmm.
saying, "Is this person the right for us?" Because they may not be right. So
Yes. So again, that's taking the power back and
yes.
recognizing your worth too, right?
Hmm.
I just separated from a toxic IT corporate job this week. Congratulations. And I'm now pursuing independent contracts. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Talking about tokenism, true story. People are saying congratulations on that liberation. Congratulations again. I love this chat. In terms of the sisterhood and support in the chat, is awesome. Yes, I was tokenized at the toxic job I left, and wow, it was painful. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yep, they want our face, but not our feedback. Ooh,
Ooh,
that's like quotable.
that is quotable.
Marissa, you need
Mm,
to quote,
mm.
you need to trademark that. I love that.
That's a good one.
That's dope. Talk about feedback. Previous boss showed employee surveys to the team, and when she was showed the low DEI score, I was suspect being the token on the team. I hadn't been completing it. Oh God. Okay. Yes, it's like a relationship, and I had to realize it was an abusive relationship. Yes, and I do have videos on my channel where I talk about that. How can you determine if your job is like an abusive relationship? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, Faith, thank you for this reminder. I should have left earlier as well. Yes. And the other part that I want to say to that is that Dr. Gena and I did both talk about the regrets of leaving earlier, not leaving earlier, but I also have to practice self forgiveness. So if I get in this pattern of just beating myself, why did I leave? Why did I let people? What that does not help me in the here and now. And I
Mhm.
have to give myself compassion that I made the best decision at that time when I
Mhm.
was in that space. So invite all of us to show self compassion as well.
Mhm.
And I see my dear friend Colette Elizabeth. We call each other the Harriets, helping Black women leave toxic jobs. Yes, they used to have the meeting after the meeting, so toxic and so obvious. Yep, yep, yep. Me too. Wish I would have left earlier. Powerful. Yep, definitely overstayed my welcome in the company. Well, the thing is, were you really truly welcome? That's the thing I'm questioning, right? For all of us. Hey, Marissa, same. I thought the leaders would be professional enough to see my worth, my expertise, and have my back. I have to speak to this because you have the worth. They see your worth, and
Mhm.
they want to capitalize. They want to exploit it. And if you dare to try to move out of your so-called place, then that's when the pushback happens.
Yeah.
Or it
Yeah.
could be a situation where you are brought in, pet the threat. You are brought in because you are doing really great work. They love you. Oh, Dr. Gena, she's so great. We love her, right? You're doing all these great things. And then it shifts because Dr. Gena is doing better than other people. She's shining more than other people, particularly shining more than her boss. So it's like, we got to get her out of here. So if
Mhm.
you want to learn more about Pet to Threat, please check out the research from Dr. Juanita Johnson Bailey, Dr. Keisha Thomas, Dr. Rosemary Phelps. I always will say their names because as Black women, we do not get credit for our work. So I'm always going to say their names, okay? I absolutely love Dr. Gena's answer. Yes, my old supervisor was so messy. He enjoyed seeing everyone argue. That's
Mm.
so petty. Now,
That
when
is-
people are like that, that is a telltale sign they are deeply insecure and
Mhm.
hurting.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
The only change at a superficial level, not at a foundational level, just enough to pass the visibility test. Yes. We are like the butterflies within the workplaces, sharing our unique colors of life. Our voice matters. That's beautiful. I
Beautiful.
agree.
That's like
I
a poem.
agree. Yes. So much of this mirrors the plantation system. Yes. I
Yes.
talk about that too, that many times these jobs are like plantations. And even when we try to leave, Dr. Gena, this is the part that really disturbs me. Even when we try to leave, they're trying to keep us from leaving. So I've heard Black women talk about like LinkedIn trolls, where employees will go on LinkedIn to try to snoop on and spy on their employees to see if if they're trying to leave. Okay, so it's very
Mhm.
much like a plantation system. Very
Yeah.
disturbing. There's ways around it. I'm not gonna say it on this thing because they might be looking. I love this. This work is so needed. Crystal Marie, you're correct. I was in management for decades. I personally witnessed management pitting employees and managers against each other by spreading rumors and sharing personal information. Thank you so much, Colette, for saying that because I
Mhm.
know that I experienced it, but I never had somebody confirm that that's what's happening. But I knew that was happening. Thank you, Dr. Kwani, Dr. Gena, for sharing this crucial conversation. Yes, we need to inform Black girls that it is okay to quit. Yes, it's
Yes.
okay to leave. You don't have to stay and suffer. No, you do not need to stay anywhere where you're being abused and you're not being valued. And also the mindset shift. The mindset shift is that you're not quitting, you're not a loser, you're not letting people run you out. You are choosing to walk away. You are taking your power back and you are choosing to walk away to something bigger and better. It got
Mhm.
to be better than what you in right
That's right.
now, right?
Mhm.
Let's see. Colette Elizabeth, wow, I went through the same exact thing. I cried a lot at that toxic job. Yeah, so many of us. Like
Yeah.
I did a video about all cried out. I'm all cried out about this job. It's not worth it. My observations of leaders, managers, and our supervisors who want people to stay in their place are incompetent, immature, and insecure. Boom, mic drop.
I
Yes,
know. That's what I'm
absolutely.
just thinking, mic drop.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Dr. Gena. I encourage everyone to research and interview the company. This is this is so empowering to be in this space. I'm so happy it is for you. I went for a walk today to find my personal garden. Yes. And let me just say with a garden, I created a garden over COVID because it was symbolic for me that I was removing the weeds out of my life, that toxic job,
Yeah.
so I could bring in, like you said, seeds. I could plant
Hmm.
seeds in my life
Hmm.
that will grow and they're thriving. Okay. So as you're thinking about your life, if your job is a weed, the weed is going to squeeze the life out, right? It's not going to allow for growth. So just think about what's going in your life now. Inspire the leaders. Uh, the leaders did see your worth. Yes. In fact, they discussed it behind your back. That's when they also discussed that you need to stay in your place.
Mm.
Boom.
Mm.
Yes. So true. So true. So you wrapped up the whole thing, Colette. You wrapped up the whole thing. Exactly. Exactly. So as we're signing off, everyone, I'm so thankful that you were here today to hear about the dynamic of when you are doing really well at your job, and it would make logical sense that people will want to promote you. It will make logical sense, but no, they're not operating in that way because they are coming for it from an insecure place. And when you see the writing on the wall, like Dr. Gina said, when you see the writing on the wall, please pay attention to how it's impacting you and start making your exit plan. Start taking those steps. If it might mean going to therapy, getting a coach, please do that because you deserve to be somewhere better where you are growing. If people are trying to put you in your place, you cannot grow. So as we're winding down, Dr. Gina, any last words you want to share with the audience?
I just want to say, Dr. Kamani, it has been a pleasure speaking with you and your audience. It's just been absolutely amazing. I just want you all to stay strong. Just know that you have a voice. Please
Yes,
use your voice. The young lady, 25-year-old, you have a voice. Do not
yes,
allow others to silence you. You
no,
take control of yourself and of your life. Your
yes,
company do not control you. You
yes,
control you. You have the
yes,
ability to choose. And when people
yes.
say, well, Dr. Gina, I didn't have a choice. Guess what? You just made a choice. So make the right choice for yourself.
Boom, Dr. Gina, that was another mic drop right there. Okay, make the choice for yourself. Okay, so as we're signing off, I just want everyone to remember, I'm here, I'm trying to channel my inner Harriet to help as many Black women leave and heal from toxic jobs. My hope is that you are listening to these videos and you are channeling your inner Harriet too, because she's in there. You just got to channel her, okay? She's in there. So, how do you make those next steps to move? How do you support other Black women who might be stuck too? Please support her. Please help other Black women because so many of us who are struggling in these toxic jobs. So, ways you can support her, you can give this video a thumbs up. It lets YouTube know to suggest the video to other people who might be in similar situations. Also, share this video with other Black women and share the resources that I have in the description section. Please check out Dr. Gina's um, awesome things that she offers, her business, her nonprofit. Please check those out and support those as well. And if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please do so. Lifting Us to Climb Consulting Wellness Services. And I will see you next time. Take care. Dr. Gina, if you could just stay on for one moment.
Thank
Take
you.
care, everybody. Bye.